They wheeled a television into the courtroom and hit play. The grainy hallway footage rolled. Sean Diddy Combs in a white tracksuit jerking Cassie Ventura across the carpet like she was a suitcase that had learned to scream. Jurors leaned forward. One audibly whispered, "Wow." What they didn't see, what prosecutors promised would come next, was even wilder. A plastic kiddie pool filled with baby oil and a pop star empire built on fear. But before we get there, meet the man who rubbed the first drop of oil. Daniel Phillip walked into that New York courtroom in a charcoal suit, hands clasped like he was praying. 12 years earlier, he'd walked into a midtown hotel expecting a tame bachelorette gig. Instead, a woman in a jet black wig whispered that her husband wanted to watch him make her shine. Shine meant baby oil, husband meant Diddy, and Phillip, whose paycheck now relied on silence, became a recurring character in the mogul's shadow play. On the stand, he described two kinds of nights. Type A, Diddy perched in a chair, bandana over his face, filming everything. Type B, Diddy gone, Cassie still kissing, as if affection itself were contraband. Defense attorneys seized on one detail. Did she look high? Phillip swore, only once. The gallery on Diddy's side exhaled, an audible strategy clicking into place. If Cassie was sober, maybe she was choosing. If she was choosing, maybe it wasn't trafficking. The prosecution responded by cueing Exhibit 17, a Walgreens receipt, 10 economy-size bottles of Johnson's baby oil, time-stamped 3 hours before a freak-off. In Phillip's words, he liked the room dripping. But that wasn't the whole story. Court officials tried to usher Cassie in before jurors were seated. Judge Aaron Subramanian shook his head. The jury has a right to see every witness. So the door swung open, and there she stood, 8 months pregnant, sea green dress stretched tight, fingers resting on her stomach like a war-torn flag. Diddy's lawyers had begged to hide the bump. Now they watched empathy bloom across 12 skeptical faces. Cassie didn't look like a millionaire opportunist. She looked like someone who'd been living in crosshairs. Her opening line cut deeper than any cross-examination. Control was everything. She hadn't cried yet. That would come later. For now, she detailed the choreography of humiliation. Imagine a nightclub where you're only allowed one shade of nail polish. Cassie testified that Diddy demanded either glossy white or French tips. Nothing else photographed the right kind of innocent. Before each session, she'd scroll Craigslist adult ads, screenshot profiles, and text them for approval. Once greenlit, escorts arrived to find hotel towels already ruined. Diddy preferred heated baby oil, reapplied every 5 minutes until every body in the room looked shellacked. Sometimes he'd retreat to the next suite and watch on FaceTime, breathing into the mic like a stadium crowd in a single throat. Other times he'd burst in mid-scene, eyes black as obsidian, and start directing positions as though reshooting a music video he could never quite perfect. And yes, there was a blow-up kiddie pool. 10 family-sized bottles emptied into it. Cassie sat inside, slick and terrified, while Diddy paced the perimeter like a film director who'd lost the script for empathy. Cue the transition, but oil washes off, contracts don't. Cassie's voice wavered when the prosecution introduced Exhibit 28, a 10-album bad boy contract signed in 2007. One album had been released, the other 9 lived on a hard drive in Diddy's studio, keys dangling at his belt. Add a $2 million condo, a leased Rolls Royce, and weekly envelopes of walking around money. On paper, she was rich. In practice, she couldn't buy a slice of independence if it went on sale at CVS. Diddy would pop into her various residences unannounced, sometimes 2 a.m., sometimes mid-afternoon. She described the moment she'd hear his footsteps in the hall. My stomach tied itself in knots, so tight I forgot I had lungs. One wrong facial expression, a sigh, an eye roll, and everything could vanish. Condo, car, contract, even the clothes she was wearing, because he had purchased them. Diddy, Cassie explained, liked pulling wings off butterflies to see if they'd still fly. Yet all that control still couldn't silence the next round of evidence. Prosecutors paused the 2016 CCTV clip on the exact frame where Cassie's head bounced off the hallway wall. They let the image linger until jurors shifted in their seats. Cassie listed her injuries, knots the size of golf balls, black eyes, torn hair extensions, then added the fear of guns. She'd once been ordered to carry a pistol in her purse because Diddy heard Suge Knight was at the same hotel bar. Another time, she claimed he ranted about blowing up Kid Cudi's car. Weeks later, an incendiary device torched it. Defense objected, irrelevant to sex trafficking, but the jury had already pictured a mogul who treated violence like a playlist shuffle. Skip, repeat, volume up. The thread was clear. Coercion wasn't a moment, it was a lifestyle. And still, the question hung in the air. Did she ever agree? Cross-examination preview. Defense will argue Cassie exchanged freedom for fame, that each freak-off was an adult transaction. Their star point? Witness Daniel Phillip saw her sober and into it. The prosecution counters with Cassie's own testimony. Ecstasy tabs slipped into her palm, ketamine lines, baby oil fog thick enough to suffocate doubt. Cassie conceded she wanted to make him happy, but added a line that cracked the room open. You can't consent when the cost of saying no is a broken rib. The jury leaned forward again. One nodded. Whether Phillip's memory or Cassie's trauma proves more credible may swing the verdict, but one thing is already clear. The law is finally parsing the difference between a yes born of genuine desire and a yes muttered under emotional ransom. Yet implications stretch beyond two people. 5 counts, racketeering, 2 charges of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, 2 counts of transporting women across state lines for prostitution. Each carries potential decades. The sex trafficking counts alone demand a minimum 15 years. Since Cassie filed her civil suit in 2023, at least 6 other women have lodged similar accusations, some claiming they were under 18 when Diddy recruited them. Prosecutors hint those voices may testify, turning this from a he said, she said into a chorus of deja vu. Inside the music industry, brands are rewriting distant statements. Former collaborators are lawyering up. The VIP Diddy party has mutated from bragging rights into a potential subpoena. Life sentence or not, the verdict will reverberate through every corner studio that ever aspired to bad boy glamour. But tomorrow's witness list might be even louder. Court adjourned after Cassie's tear-soaked admission that she once thought of ending her own life because she couldn't carry the shame anymore. Cross-examination begins at 9 a.m. sharp. Short lunch break to accommodate a 3rd trimester witness who may go into labor any week now. Rumors swirl that a former bodyguard, a music video director, and an A-list actor Cassie briefly dated in 2015, Michael B. Jordan, according to Rolling Stone, could take the stand. Prosecutors also hinted at unreleased audio from 2024 raids, including voice notes where Diddy reportedly rehearses threats like lyrics. The trial calendar stretches 8 weeks, but the internet clock is already spinning faster. So here's your takeaway. Every new testimony tightens the lens on a man once crowned the life of the party. Stick around, because the next witness might flip the entire narrative. And if you want front row seats to every twist, tap subscribe right now. All the sources we pulled are waiting for you in the description below.